How are stories important for understanding Anishnaabe people?
Our whole life is a story. So everything about who you are and what you are is a story of who you are. I want you all just to think for a moment about your life and about who you are, your family, how your family got to be here, whether that be maybe they came here on a boat, maybe they've always been here. How about your family's experiences, how your parents met to make you, how their parents met to make them, how their parents then met and made them, which resulted in you. Your story of who you are and what you carry in your, what we might call a bundle, or in your bag, or in your life, in your hands, there's no one else in the world that carries that. You are an absolutely unique human being. And the story that you carry, not just in your hand, but in your blood, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, all of those elements make you who you are. And those are yours. No one else has those. So what I say to my students, and I'll say to you here, is when you have a gift, it's like that lasagna you bring to the potluck, right? You work really hard on it, and you bring it, you want to share it with people. That's your story. You've been working on this story your whole life. You've got the most amazing story, and you've made it. You've worked very hard. You've cooked it. You've layered things really beautifully. And how are you going to treat it now? How are you going to give it to somebody else? You're going to give it just throw it to the side. If you treat your life and your story as not something important, why would anyone else treat it important? But if you treat it like it is, which is the most beautiful story ever told, which is what you are. You are the most beautiful story ever told. If you treat it like that, then that is how people will see you. And for us, that is how Anishnaabe see you. That is how Anishnaabe see ourselves. That's how Anishnaabe see not just human beings, because our story, we like to think of our stories as the most important ones, but really the most important stories are the ones out there. The ones of the trees and the water and the earth and the sunrise, the moon, the sun. Those are the stories that were like mysterious. They're like rich and so powerful. We know a little bit about your story, but not very much, a little bit. Those stories out there are the ones we can really learn about methods of life and theories of life and ideas of life. So for us as Anishnaabe, our whole life is trying both to understand our own story, how to tell our own story, see it as beautiful, but also understand the stories of others. I want to hear your story. I want to hear your story, and I want to hear the story of the rest of creation. That's really what life is all about. When I go to my auntie's house, she'll say, "Sit down, my boy." And then she'll get me a cup of tea, and maybe she'll give me a hug, or then she'll sit down beside me and she'll say, "Tell me about your day, my boy. Tell me about your mother. Why hasn't your dad come to visit me lately?" And then she'll say, "And tell me about how you are, my boy." And then what's she really saying? She's saying, "Tell me a story. Tell me a story. Where have you come from? Tell me about what you've seen." I'll tell the story, and then at the end I'll say, "And you, Auntie, tell me about you." So really, the currency of life is story. That's the way we live. And whether it be novels, poetry, which are understandable kind of stories, we think of as stories, but also the ways that we offer food to each other and gifts to each other, time. Those are all stories as well. So for Anishnaabe, everything is really made up of story. Niigaan.